It's fun.
What's up, Buckeye Nation? You're tuned in to the Buckeye Cast, coming at you loud and proud, bringing strong opinions and salty humor to Ohio State football. These fellas were born and bred in the Buckeye State, and their brand of banter is guaranteed to entertain and excite you. But if you're not a Buckeye, don't bother. Visit us at thebuckeyecast.com and follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at The Buckeye Cast to stay up to date on all things Ohio State football. And be sure to subscribe on iTunes, SoundCloud, or Stitcher. Now here's your host, Joe Warwick.
We are back once again, Buckeye fans. Oh man, it's been a long couple of weeks. I heard there was a national championship game a few weeks ago. Anybody else see that?
Yeah, I checked it out briefly.
Go Tigers.
Yeah. Personally, if I want to see hillbilly on hillbilly crime, I'll turn on an episode of Cops. So, yeah, anyway, moving along. This is our pre-signing day 2017 episode. We're going to talk about our upcoming recruits briefly, and we're going to touch on our major targets and who we, as the recruiting staff, have their bullseyes on. There's 5 major guys that we're going to get into, and we'll see how things hash out over the next couple of weeks, and then after the first, we'll have a post-recruiting show. This one I know Jeff is most excited about. He probably has done his most homework for this show, right?
Most definitely. This is the best time of the year.
Yeah. So Henry is still. Have you accepted football season is over yet, or was it over a couple weeks ago?
No, it was good. I was glad to see Clemson won it. What else can I say? But yeah, I've been off it. Watched a little bit of Zeke until he got knocked out for the playoffs. I guess Shazier's still putting in work, so there's still a couple of Buckeyes I keep my eye on.
Yeah,
that's about it.
Shazier is Mr. Shirtless workout guy before the cold weather game the last few weeks.
I know what man. He's finally healthy.
Does that show me that you're tough, or does that show me that you're an idiot? I don't know what that shows.
Dancing a fine line for sure. We'll see what he looks like in Foxborough tomorrow. So let's get into this. I do like watching the former players, especially the more recent ones like Zeke showing out and Michael Thomas and those guys. But let's see who are going to be future Buckeyes. As you guys know, this is a huge commitment watch this weekend. We got some major players in C-Bus for their official visits. I'm going to run through the list, and then we'll break down each one and give our 2 cents on them. So, in town this weekend, we have Oliver Martin, wide receiver from Iowa City. Thayer Munford, offensive lineman from Cincinnati, played his high school ball this year, though, at Massillon, Washington. Jaylen Harris, already committed receiver out of Cleveland, and then James Robinson, receiver out of Lakeland, Florida. So these guys are all in town. One guy, I want to start off this list with the cream of the crop, and that is Mr. 5-star Big Daddy Marvin Wilson. You guys know all about this guy. 6'4", 329 out of Bellaire, Texas. This is that elusive 5-star D tackle that Herb has not bagged yet in his recruiting arsenal. You know, Henry, what do you like about Mr. Wilson?
Oh, well, I like everything about Mr. Wilson. I like that. I like that we have a chance still. Like you said, Herb's never been able to pull the D tackle, and I don't know how it evades him, but it does. And Herman bagged those too when he was down in Houston. I'm worried now that he's got a little bit better gig. Can he put some pressure on and get Wilson? He always seems to. He got those 2 guys in Houston, but dude, this kid he's a game changer. He's a stud. He's a flat out stud. If we could just get him, I wouldn't care if we got anyone else. I think we've got a sweet class right now. To me, you're just sprinkles on top.
Yeah.
type of shit. But Wilson's a game changer. You can block him down.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Come on, Marv. Come on, Big Marv. Get your ass up here.
Somebody send in Tom Hanks for a recruiting rep from Ohio State. Can we contract him for like a day or two? Anyway, that was weak. Jeff.
Yes, sir.
Starvin Marvin.
Yeah, he's that down south, big defensive tackle, size, quickness, athleticism, everything that the SEC loads up on every year. It's Sean, you talked about Tom Herman, over at UT. It's kind of too late in the game. It's pretty much a 3-horse race. Florida State, LSU, and us. And LSU gets like 3 or 4 of these guys a year. It seems like. And the problem with Herb not being able to pull these guys is because they love to stay down south. And I think that's really the only thing. It's just he's from the Houston area. And Baton Rouge to Houston is a pretty short little jaunt. So, but the tweet he put out the other night when Coach Johnson visited him in the home.
What did he say?
I sent to you guys. He has it. He with the Buckeye Ohio State edit and everything. He said, thinking about joining my boys, my friends in Columbus. I'm trying to be great. He's really close with Okudah and Baron Browning. They were all together for that visit, the Ohio State Michigan weekend. He's real close with those guys, and they of course tweeted back to him, "What are you waiting on? Come on, fam." So. It's Florida State, it's us, and it's LSU. He said he rated his LSU visit a week ago a 12 on a scale of 1 to 10. So, but then, Coach Johnson's in the house with him, and he sends that tweet out that night. So, I don't know. It's going to be one of those, if you got the hatology, however. Somebody might get an idea of when he sets the hats out on the table on signing day, but it's going to come down to the wire. Him or Tufele. Tufele actually, I think, jumped him in the rankings. The final 24/7 rankings, I believe.
No.
But either or, I just want to get a frontline defensive tackle. I mean, Haskell Garrett is one, but you always need 2 or 3. Like, these guys are next level prospects.
Yeah,
so hopefully I would like Wilson. I think he's more athletic, but I'll take either one of them to add to this class.
Right. Yeah, it would have been nice to get another D tackle, even if we strike out on these 2.
You should take 2 a year. Every year, at least 2.
At least,
Agreed.
Including ends. 2 of those. So let's move on to the 4-star. You mentioned Jay Tufele out of Utah. He's a 6'2", 280-pounder, so significantly smaller, but a hell of an athlete at that size. He is a heavy Utah lean right now. I think that's coming from some internal family pressure. I don't know what else might be at play there, but what do you think, Jeff, on Tufele?
Yeah, I mean, it's that Samoan connection that Utah has. I mean, it just seems like there's a large concentration of Samoan people out in that area.
It's the LDS religion, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I guess that kind of runs hand in hand. But that's probably where the family influence is coming from. But he's real high on Ohio State. Unless everything for the past 6 months has been a huge smokescreen.
Quick
he's
question.
real high on him.
Is it just me, or have we not seen Urban Meyer in these 2 D tackle in-home visits? I haven't seen or heard anything about him being in-home. Just Larry Johnson. You guys see anything on that?
You're right. No, that's as far as I know too. Like I said, Larry Johnson's been to church with Mr. Tufele.
Well, to me, that means that we don't think we got that good of a shot. You send in, Johnson, who's a great fucking recruiter. Yeah. And if Johnson says, "Hey, Herb, we're close. I'm close," then he brings Urban, I think.
Yeah, he does the old sign of the bullpen for the closer, right?
if he's still like, we're way behind. I mean, if you got some extra time and you're in the neighborhood, if you're talking to a kid,
if you're in the Salt Lake neighborhood, just come on through. But you're right, Sean, and you're right, and it does seem that surprising that Herb hasn't, kind of taken more of a personal interest, but we don't know the conversations they're having.
My reason for the question is it goes back to what we just mentioned, is that he hasn't bagged a 5-star D tackle, and maybe part of it's effort. I don't know, just something. Maybe it's just a lazy point of view I'm taking. I don't know.
I think that's something that we can only really speculate on, because, like I said, we don't know the contact that Herb's had. They've both been to Columbus, I believe. Tufele has been to Columbus for a visit. I know Wilson was the Ohio State weekend, the Michigan weekend.
Right, he was.
Herb, and Herb sat down with him and his family at the on-campus visit. Mm-hmm. I'm sure.
Yeah, he was there same day as Wilson for the Michigan game.
Okay, yeah, they had like 46 recruits in town.
Jesus Christ!
For that game,
Herb had to be worn out, as were the female students after that weekend.
The shoe was so. Remember that game? The shoe was so rocking.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh!
That is a hell of a setting to bring 46 recruits to, though.
Yeah, and
and the crowd.
In the year, when we played out in Norman, in Oklahoma, had the huge recruiting, population in there, and we beat their doors off.
Sorry.
It can have that adverse effect. You take a big gamble on having that many kids watch a big game.
Yeah.
But if you come out victorious, that might have sealed the deal for Baron Browning, and that might have been Okuda's, final. Yeah, this is a place to be.
Yeah, I don't know how you find a better atmosphere, honestly.
Unless that was
a new
that game, how anticipated it was, how huge it was.
Yeah, the 10 years.
All those kids there, the crowd, the biggest crowd ever, and probably ever will be. And everyone was just jacked up.
Yeah, and then the crowd comes on the field afterwards, and these recruits are in the middle of it. I mean, what could be more perfect? It's almost like a Hollywood setting for recruiting.
Right?
Like, all right, or before the game is like, okay, if we win, to the security guards, he's talking to them. If we win, let everybody on the fucking field. Just let him come on. I don't give a fuck. Get out of the way.
Right. Right. So,
but yeah, that can't backfire as we saw with. Who's that DB recruit that Michigan was trying to pull, and a Michigan fan knocked a hot dog out of his hand on his visit, so he pulled out.
Pulled Michigan off the list, right?
Yeah, just a simple hot dog weenie.
Well, I think most kids, if they finally got a taste of the Michigan fan base, they would say, I don't really want to deal with this shit.
Yeah,
these guys are a bunch of assholes.
Henry can probably speak pretty well to that.
Oh my gosh, it's not even.
Don't get me started.
Especially the blue bloods.
Yeah.
Jeez.
There was a poll I saw real quick. There was a poll from recruits that said, "What are the most annoying fan bases?"
I saw
Michigan was top 2.
Yeah.
That's recruits. That's recruits talking. That's not other fans.
Yeah. Shocking.
Harbaugh's out. Let's not even go into that dickhead.
Yeah. So let's polish off Mr. Tufele. Henry, you have anything to add?
No, I mean he'd be plan B behind my boy Marv for sure. Like to see him come. I don't see it happening, frankly.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think he's kind of a homer. Doesn't want to travel too far east, and
to me, he's another, like Jeff, you were saying earlier that Marvin Wilson is the typical SEC D tackle.
Yeah.
Jay Tufele, I think, is really good, but I think he's more of the Big Ten type of tackle.
Well, yeah.
They say he's got more ready now. Tufele is, but there's way more upside with Marvin Wilson.
I think you'd have to.
That's from the recruiting sources that I've read.
The main difference I see between the two, I think you'd have to shed some weight off of Wilson. 330 is pretty friggin' hefty to still be able to play a full game. even if you're alternating reps, and Tufele is 280. That's a 50-pound swing where you could slam a little bit more weight on Tufele if you had to get him up to 300. But Wilson, you got to trim some, the way it looks to me. I do like Wilson's height, though, at 6'4". I'll take that over 6'2". But,
yeah, 6'4", 330. Good luck running.
Exactly. Yeah. So, yeah, we'll see how that pans out. It would be
the
awesome.
SEC is full of those guys, though. I mean, the SEC is full of the 6'4", 330s.
Yeah. So,
agile, mean streak, the whole thing.
Maybe Herb and Larry Johnson can pull something off here with our Texas recruiting strength and maybe the recruits. I mean, like I
said, I sign Marvin, call it a day.
Yep. Wrap it up. Yep. Pull everybody off the trail. Yeah. So let's get into some receivers here. Switch over to the other side of the ball. We got a 4-star wide receiver from Lakeland, Florida. His name is James Robinson. 6'4", 190. I like the size. My opinion, quickly, I believe this guy's faced some quality opponents playing at Lakeland, but he has called Florida his dream school and is heavily crystal balled to Florida as of right now. Henry, have you seen anything on Mr. Robinson?
Just looking at the 247 board and that and seeing on him. I saw that he's heavy to Florida. To me, I know we got all these wide receivers on the list here. We've got a couple. Do we need another one? I mean, we lost Ty John Lindsay, but he wasn't going to be a wide receiver anyway. He was going to be an H-back. So we got our other wide receiver in Jaylen Harris. If we're just filling spots to fill spots, I'd rather not. I'd rather go for the lineman.
Yeah, I think Herb's trying to throw bodies at that position because obviously we're getting little production out of it. Go ahead, Jeff. You had something?
Just looking at some videos of James Robinson, the name kind of just came out of. It wasn't really on my radar at all. I didn't realize it was on Ohio State's until a couple weeks ago, maybe.
Yeah.
He's a grown man though.
Yeah.
His build, he's D1 football ready right now. Like you said, Joe, coming from a quality school. When Herb was at Florida, he took a lot of Lakeland kids. He's got a real good relationship with that coach.
Yeah.
Pouncy Boys, Demps, or not Demps, Rainey. A lot of those kids came from the Lakeland program. Yeah. Great size, and I think Herb's looking at these guys as better prospects than his James Clark, his Terry McLaurin, those guys that he got a couple of years ago.
Very different.
So he's different builds, different. I think they're the next level of athlete. Mm-hmm. The Trevon Grimes, even Jaylen Harris, these guys. Victor. So he's Victor, Austin Mack, even the big frame. It's like he wants to overhaul what those two wideout positions are looking like.
Yeah.
And he just wants to, get as many as he can.
I think he stopped paying attention to 40 times and started paying attention to body types.
Right, and that's probably to get the most out of it. He's got these smaller quarterbacks. They're coming. I'd say Martell's smaller, and JT one more year. He wants some guys that can help JT now. The big guys where JT doesn't have to do that precision passing, where he can throw it up and let some big guy help him go up and fight for a ball.
You think any of these guys realistically that are still out there, so they're not enrolled, they won't be in spring ball, will contribute at all? Grimes included, even in will contribute next year to help. I just don't see it.
Grimes would be the only one, in my opinion, of this class, and that's if he's 100% healthy by, week one. And I don't know. He is back to training again, but I don't know at what percentage his injury is at. His strength.
I watched a video of his. I mean, he talks about a good kid, real well spoken. Seems like he's got a great head to him. Really focused on recovering. He said he learned a lot from Nick Bosa's recovery and how he went about recovering.
That's smart.
From that injury. He says he's going to be ready for the start of the season. He said he should be 100%. Just getting into fall practice. So it might, he the way he talked, maybe like a week behind at the start of fall practice. So
okay.
So it might be not one of those guys beginning of the season ready, but I don't see Trevon Grimes redshirting.
I agree.
I think they're gonna. He might be playing. He might play in 7-8 games, but I don't see him redshirting at all.
And I love his size.
Yeah, and I think coaches say if you're ready to go, you're going to get every chance to play. I mean, but they'll probably be on like that pitch count, kind of like Bosa was to start the year.
Yeah.
Limited snaps, limited practice. I think we're second to none in the country when it comes to player development and player health and monitoring player health and stuff like that.
The hardest thing to develop with these high school kids is you got to learn to block.
Yeah, toughness.
Mm-hmm.
You got to bring that to the table.
I think that might be. I think just from looking at and hearing about James Robinson, I think that's one of the big things. I think Meyer's really high on with him.
Yeah,
because he's physical as shit.
And
is he?
And let's get to let's. If we fast forward to one of our early enrollees, Brandon White.
Yeah.
That dude that's a grown man as well. Into the receivers room with those guys.
Yeah, we'll see if he sticks there. I think that may be a temporary move because everything I've heard is more about him playing that walkout linebacker position a la Darren Lee style. So we'll see if he sticks over in the receiver room. Probably depends on how many receivers they bring in with this class as well. That shit's getting crowded. They're going to need some more tables and chairs. So, and then our next wide receiver. I'm sorry, Henry. Did you have anything on Robinson?
No, Jeff just educated me. You Florida boys are down there by that Lakeland program, so I appreciate it. I didn't know, but if he is what Jeff feels he is, and he's a physical guy that gets it done, then sign him. I worry we start trying to hit a number instead of just getting the guys or the things that we need.
I agree, Sean.
I feel like every year we're in a big crunch for our numbers.
Yeah.
And all right, well, if we're not getting our guys and it's not a huge need, then let's not reach on shit.
Right.
I agree too, because I don't like this. I don't like the over signing and that cutting the older kids that the SEC is famous for. Tennessee and Alabama.
Oh,
they signed 29, 32 kids every fucking year.
I was talking to Joe. How does it seem like every year we have these small classes? I feel like every single year. And
because we don't oversign and we don't
oversign, but we still have so many underclassmen going every year. That should be all these new, and yet I guess we've been doing that for so long that it doesn't matter. That's the norm. So that doesn't give you any advantage. When underclassmen go, that usually frees up a bunch of scholarships. But no one makes it to their senior year at Ohio State anyway, so it's irrelevant anymore.
You get kind of both sides. We have so many kids. Like last year, we had so many leave early, and we redshirted so many freshmen last year.
Yeah, it was dangerous.
That's why we started during the season. 43 or 46 freshman eligibility players. So. And this year, a lot of these kids will be redshirted because the last 2 years we've had so many red shirts. In about 2 years, it's gonna level off. It'll flip flop where we're gonna end up having a class of 30 kids. As these probably 2 more years, depending on how many we leave early next year, and just kind of looking over the depth chart.
I bet you a bunch more will. And I don't know who's eligible yet. I guess.
Well, you're only going to have a couple seniors fall off, like Tyquan, Billy Price, Marcus Baugh, JT. There aren't too many seniors, James Clark, that are going to fall off the roster.
Right. I was looking at that the other day, but you got to think somebody like Mike Weber. If he has another great year.
Worley definitely.
Worley will be.
Worley will leave.
Eric Smith will be a senior.
Yeah.
Smith will be a senior. Webb will be a senior. Mike Weber, as a redshirt sophomore year, very likely could be leaving. And maybe some of the receivers. We're at, you have to be at 85 scholarships at the start of fall practice.
Right.
For your first day of fall camp, you have to be at 85. We are currently, with Stephen Collier hanging it up this week, we are currently at 87 scholarships. And that's with our commits at 19, where we are right now.
Yeah.
So you figure add a couple more, say add 2 more to this class, put us at 21. We'll be at 80, so you figure 89 scholarships. We're going to lose 4 more before the start of fall season.
Yeah.
Where?
Just it happens. I don't know.
Those tough conversations that Herb has to have with somebody. Kyle Trout's probably leading that list right now.
Rumored to be leaving, yeah.
Yeah. It's not 100% for sure yet, but there's going to be guys that got to go, if they want to play or just keep their scholarship. They're going to have to go play somewhere else or whatever. Yeah, but it's going to happen. Let's move on to our next receiver is a 4-star Oliver Martin. He is 5'11 and a half, 192-pounder out of Iowa City, Iowa. This guy's a true athlete. He scored well at the opening. But in my opinion, he's held back by his environment and where he played high school football. I mean, his highlight tape's great and all. He stands out on the field. But he faced those vaunted powerhouse high school programs of the Iowa City area. And as you know, there's not a lot of quality around there.
There's not a lot of anything around there.
No. He's outrunning corn stalks. So, Jeff, you seen anything on Oliver Martin?
0. Sorry, I have nothing.
Same as me up until this morning. Henry, I'm sure. Have you heard of this guy?
Well, yeah, I did today. Oliver Martin.
Half hour
again.
ago.
Show prep.
Yeah.
Again, I go back to. You said we're at 87 right now.
Yes.
I don't know if I want to burn a spot for Oliver Martin.
Yeah.
I mean, unless if you see the right thing in a kid, then you go for it. But if you're just reaching, I'd rather you stack up on different spots than receiver. You win from the ball out.
Yeah.
That's right.
I agree 100% with your line of thought there, Sean. I don't want to just get a set number of, hey, let's get 22. Let's get 22 in the class or 21 in the class. I think they go along. They got Munford. I think some of these guys, just like kind of Jaylen Harris. Why was Jaylen Harris sitting around, not committed to anyone until last minute? I think he had conversations with Ohio State probably this whole time, saying, "Hey, just hold out. We're waiting on this. We want you." Yep. I don't know how that works because I'm surprised they get kids to be patient like that.
Yeah.
But this kid Oliver Martin has probably been told, you're not our first option, but we'll take you at the last minute.
If it wasn't obvious already.
Because there for a while we were all in La La Land thinking that we were getting Donovan Peoples-Jones, Trayvon Grimes, and Tyjon Lindsey.
Right.
And if you're Jaylen Harris, you'd be like, fuck that. I am not going to that school.
Right.
I will never see the field.
Right.
And so he was basically like, all right, if you don't go to Ohio State, go to Plan B, Michigan State. He was probably certainly going to go there if we didn't take him.
That's what it looks like, yeah.
Once Tyjon fell out, it was a no-brainer because Peoples-Jones was already gone. Yeah. And even with Tyjon, I think we would have added him.
Yeah, well, Herb did go visit Mr. Martin in home this past week, and like I said, he's on his official visit in Columbus this weekend. So it's a real offer,
Yeah, and we shouldn't, and we have no place really to knock Urban Meyer's strategy when it comes to recruiting.
He's just trying to get them airline miles up, get them down.
I'm sure that's what he's worried about, getting them miles.
Right.
Trying to get some plaque status.
So we as Buckeye Nation and fans in general have to just kind of trust that they know what they're doing, and if they're high on a kid, if he's from fucking bumfucked Egypt, we should probably just become bumfucked Egypt fans, and trust that they know what they're doing and what they're looking at. Mm-hmm. You know, he might swing and miss on some kids, but a lot of our recruits that haven't panned out, they haven't panned out for other reasons, not just that they're not that good. A lot of them were a lot of injury problems.
Yeah.
Like Johnny Dixon or like Mike Mitchell, like 5-star linebacker kid in the Bosa Zeke class. He had to move back to Texas because his dad got sick. That dude was a stud.
I think there was more to that story than met the eye.
Might have been, but his brother still came and played basketball.
Exactly. That's why I was like.
And did his brother leave?
Yeah, I think he left.
Did he really? Because he came 2 years after that.
Those Mitchell boys got all kinds of talent, but they're soft.
Something. Soft in the head.
No, man Mitchell. Man Mitchell didn't raise him right.
Oh, the Mitchell boys.
Mitchell boys in West Texas.
Yeah. So let's polish off our other 4-star tackle, Thayer Munford. Like I mentioned, he's 6'6", 325, out of Cincinnati. Played for Massillon Washington this past season. Had to transfer. He's definitely on commitment watch this weekend. I wouldn't be surprised if we lock him up by Sunday night. I think he was just waiting on an offer from Ohio State, honestly, and it came in, and I think that's almost a done deal.
I would think so, and you spend it, get an extra, like you said, Sean, get an extra offensive lineman before you reach on another receiver. I'm all for it. Don't know much about Munford, haven't seen any tape on him or anything. But if the Buckeyes are going to offer him, I'm good with their with their choice. Our troubles this year on the offensive line. You can't tell me you can never recruit too many offensive linemen after what we saw this year.
Yeah.
So I'm all for it. I hope that gets taken care of this weekend.
No, I'm 100%. Outside of Marvin Wilson, I think it's kind of a toss-up between Tufele and this Munford kid who I'd like to see next in the class. It's obviously, you guys were talking about earlier that Trout might be leaving. Who else did you say? Lyle's gone.
Yeah, he transferred to Duke.
So, yeah, give me some warm bodies for the O-line.
Yeah,
definitely.
I'll go greedy and take Wilson, Robinson, and Munford. Put us at 22. 22 is a nice round number. Locked and loaded. Going today. So, yeah.
Just a quick note while we're on O-line, though.
Sure.
So, I was looking through this. Why the giant fall for Josh Meyer? I mean, at one point he was like number 2 or 3 overall, and now he's like the 11th best tackle, and not even a 5-star. What happened? Did he get hurt?
No, he played in an offense that was a triple option, so the guy is never pass blocked. So that's his drawback. I don't know how he got to be a 5-star personally, other than scoring well at camps, doing drills and shit.
I think that was a lot of it.
But he's never he's not going to be able to start as a freshman, and we don't want a freshman starting again, because that means you got a weak ass line in depth. And so I think he probably was never worthy of the 5, and maybe a 4 is more accurate. He's 6'6", 306. So
yeah, but it's not that he was just 5. He was like number 2 overall.
Right.
He was. I don't know if I've ever seen somebody drop like that.
And I follow on Twitter, following a bunch of the recruiting insiders that I trust their opinions and stuff. A lot of them were boggled by the amount of drops that Ohio State recruits had. Something like 270 points in the final ranking. And all the Alabama's recruits went up like 150 points.
Yeah, combined.
Something, some big contrast. And a lot of them couldn't put their finger on it either, as to why certain guys dropped. Wyatt Davis, our guard from California,
Saban has
dropped.
Their families in his basement probably.
Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, so the people with the know-how and the knowledge, the insider knowledge, they couldn't really figure out or understand why. So, hard telling. If there's
I don't
not
think
a
it really
not
matters
a
when you're that high up there. It's the talent's there. Just coach it and make it happen.
how you're developed. I mean, that Josh Myers, they talk he might move to guard. He might not be the prototypical Taylor Decker left tackle that Urban went out and got, but we'll see. I mean, they were high on him from the get-go, from the jump. He was one of the first commitments. So they knew they've been high on him ever since. So it's not like I don't think the Buckeyes have. I don't think there's been no indication that they're concerned with his maybe drop off or anything like that.
He's been committed for 2 years. He committed in January 2015. So I'm not worried about it. I'm sure they got him on a program to work on whatever he needs to work on, and he's going to the camps and shit. So I think he can only get better, and just he'll redshirt, which is fine, and
he's an early enrollee as well.
Exactly. So
he's in winter drills right now with him. So
exactly.
Maratti's already starting his magic with him.
Yeah, enjoy that shit.
Let me add something real quick, Joe. You informed me this morning that Baron Browning's mom is now following the Buckeye Cast. So I just wanted to give a shout out to Mrs. Browning. Thanks for the follow.
Yep.
Spread the word to the rest of the moms and dads.
Yeah, we'd love to have you on the show.
We'd love to get some feedback as well. Let's get into that too deep, because I think there's going to be a lot of this freshman class that will be pushing, in that too deep and getting playing time. I don't think we're going to see as many red shirts as we have in years past.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, let's go through it.
We're a little thin on the O-line recruiting this class anyway, so we only got.
Well, there's certain positions, and I'll get into that, but there's certain positions where I think some of these freshmen are going to be pushing for time.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's run through this quickly. Obviously, Jamarco Jones starting left tackle. He's not going anywhere.
No.
Behind him, we've got Brandon Bowen. See, Evan Lyle transferred out.
I'm seeing Kevin Fetter on the one I'm looking at as projected too deep.
I like that.
He's at 6'9", giant, sophomore status.
Mm-hmm. I like that. That works for me.
Yeah, he's probably heir apparent. Nice long kid. Get his hands on you.
Mm-hmm. Who else we got? Matt Burrell. He's an option. Hasn't seen much playing time other than garbage time.
Highly touted coming out of school.
Yep. Highly rated.
Burrell's never going to be a tackle, I don't think. He's not tall enough.
They moved him into guard, yeah. I'm not seeing a lot of other depth at the tackle. You guys?
No. Prince, I'm open. Prince could turn it around and be a stud next year. Love to see it.
Malcolm Pridgeon.
Bowen,
Pridgeon. They're all options. And it seems like a lot of those guys are interchangeable, moving inside, outside, right to left.
I like the one I'm looking at has across Jamarco Jones, Michael Jordan, Billy Price, Malcolm Pridgeon, Isaiah Prince.
Yeah. I
like that starting a season especially with some of these guys behind them that I think can push some of them. Demetrius Knox, Burrell.
Wyatt Davis will be in the 2 deep. Maybe. I don't think he redshirts. I don't think he redshirts on the inside. Either guard spot. I don't think they'll move him at tackle. But
by the way, another guy that took a ratings hit randomly last week.
Right. Player of the year in the state of California.
Who's texting you?
Never mind.
All right.
Nothing important.
All right. So yeah, Wyatt Davis could sneak into the 2 deep. He's already a grown ass man at 6'5", 310. Like you said, out of St. John Bosco, California Player of the Year. Yeah.
Offensive guard got California Player of the Year.
Yeah, and Najee Harris was from California. Darnay Holmes from California.
Yeah.
And Wyatt Davis got Player of the Year.
Yeah. He probably played tackle, but is projected as a guard.
Well, that makes me really excited about Wyatt Davis. Can't wait to see this kid.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
you don't ever see, even in Idaho, you probably don't get a lineman as Player of the Year usually.
Well, even if you do, it's usually a center or a tackle, a guard.
Right.
He must have been the tackle on his team.
Right. I think he's yeah, exactly. So, tight end, who do we got here? I got Houseman and A.J. Alexander. Flip that order. Alexander the starter, as he got playing time last year. I don't recall Houseman seeing much of the field at all. Really have no opinion there.
What about Ball?
Yeah, well, Ball's still a starter, but
yeah, obviously Ball would be the starter. Alexander backing him up, and Houseman.
Houseman's that kid from Moeller, right?
I think so. They got him listed at 205. That's not very big for a tight end. You might want to eat some sandwiches.
What?
Oh, 205. I bet that's a typo because I think he was bigger than that when he coming out of school.
Yeah.
I watched
the man say 205. What do you want from me?
I'm saying it's probably a typo, bro. That's all.
I see 245 on this roster.
There you go. That sounds about right.
That's what I'm talking about.
There you go.
But yeah, I mean, Alexander has 2 years eligibility left, or 3 after
Sophomore.
this year? Because Ball, will be gone after this year. Thank God. Alexander, Houseman,
Easy, man. I like Ball. Ball had a nice year. Ball made some. He made some. Dropped some balls at times, but Ball balled out.
He played all season with that bum shoulder too. I like the toughness out of the Cali kid.
I got the bum kid right.
Boom.
Anyways, we'll go heavy next year. Next year we need to get a top flight 5-star tight end, and that's another position that Meyer really hasn't pulled in that elite top 5 in the country. Position.
Well, if you're not going to use them, how the hell would you pull one in?
Well, we're gonna see what Kevin Wilson does with this offense this year, and it's gonna be a different offense. I mean, you're still gonna be looking at a lot of the same concepts, I think, but different ways of attacking. So we might be able to bring in that big tight end, big pass catching target. Yeah. But in Meyer's offense too, you're gonna have to be a hell of a blocker as well. That won't change. So. But we'll see what this year's offense looks like and see how different positions are featured. But at the same time, you got to feature where your talent is too. I don't see Marcus Ball being a huge focal point of our offense just because I don't think he's got the capability of doing that.
Well, I would
personal
say
opinion.
the passing game has also been part of the issue.
I saw a lot of mental errors and a lot of breakdowns, missed assignments from him. In the run game. Yeah. But that's really where most of my aggravation with the kid comes from. Yeah. Just missed assignments, not finishing plays, mental errors. It didn't look like he was always. But if he had a bum shoulder, another thing that aggravates me: if he had a bum shoulder and couldn't go 100%, why was nobody able to surpass him on the depth chart?
Well, it's youth behind him. There was nobody.
Because you see all the mental errors in that. It's probably because the youth behind him has the same coach as he does, and they're not coaching these tight ends up well enough. And he had to go.
That's kind of what I'm saying.
But there's nobody between him and a sophomore. There's nobody else. Yeah. So I mean, geez. You can only do so much with what you got.
That's one position where we haven't really, loaded up on in recruiting, and that's definitely going to need to change next year.
Shit, they made Sam Hubbard a tight end for a while.
Yeah, that tells you something. So let's transition on to the receiver room. This is a packed bunch. A lot of bright spots coming in.
A lot of size.
Yeah, a lot of shuffling around, too. We've got EGW, Sean's guy, sliding over from the special teams warrior and buried on the safety depth chart, coming in to zone 6. He is a junior. God, I can't believe that. He doesn't seem that like he's been here that long.
He never redshirted.
He never redshirted.
Right, exactly, right. Yeah. So, if he takes an injury, then we can gain another year out of him, maybe. But right now we got Clark, McLaurin. You guys know this cast of characters that have underproduced. Paris Campbell, Mr. fucking Dropsies, Johnny Dixon, probably gone from the program due to knee injuries.
Yeah, I feel bad for that kid though.
Yeah, sure. I mean,
the talent's there, just bad luck with injuries. If you get reoccurring knee injuries,
I think this is the year that maybe Austin Mack and Benjamin Victor become our guys.
I agree.
I wouldn't count Paris Campbell out just quite yet, but
rumors of Campbell moving,
or depending if they keep KJ Hill. KJ Hill could as well. Yeah. But the days of McLaren and Clark, I mean, gosh, I liked both those kids coming in. They just
injuries too. Injuries with Clark especially. His biggest thing was speed, and foot and ankle injuries.
Ever since he broke his leg as a freshman, I don't think he's come back from that, whether it's mental or physical or both. So it's unfortunate, but like you said, I think this is where the young guys take over, the sophomores, and then the incoming freshmen with Grimes and Harris and those guys and whoever else we might land.
Let's see. Between Mac, Victor, Grimes, and Harris, that's what, 6'4", 6'4", 6'5", and 6'3"?
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah. And putting
and
on
talent.
weight.
I mean, talent to go with that size.
Yeah, coming in with some weight, too, where they're not going to get pushed around by corners, So
right.
I like the future. I just don't like this coming year's future. I'm not sure. We'll see how it pans out. And
someone's going to emerge.
Yeah,
I mean, there's enough talent there to not know for sure who's going to emerge, right. But somebody's gonna. We're going to get a deep threat this year.
Don't be surprised if Paris slides over to the running back room
for the H or
running
tailback. He was a running back in high school, I know, but he's still only like.
Yeah, I could see the two deep that I'm looking at as projected. Obviously, McCall at the H-back spot. And then KJ Hill at backing him up there. I almost see KJ Hill staying at wide receiver more, maybe EGW as that H-back spot. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's quick as shit, shifty. Yeah. He just, a little smaller. KJ Hill's big dude. I mean, 6'2" 200 is what I'm seeing.
Right. Yeah, he's putting
I'll take it. Yeah, all the talent's there. At every wide receiver spot and a tailback, it's just a matter of who's going to emerge. Let's get some separation. Let's not have 9 guys at the same level like we did this year when we're rotating a different 3 receivers every 2 plays. Let's get some separation. I want to see some guys rise above the pack. Like you said earlier this year, Joe, during the season, if you got 9 receivers, you don't have the 2.
Yeah, I want to see like 4 guys dominate.
Yep. And honestly, the running back position is really fucking thin right now, and they need the dudes. Obviously, we're only getting probably 1 running back with the this class, with Dobbins already enrolled early. But you got Antonio Williams, been in the program. He'll be a sophomore. And McCall, we just talked about him at the possible H. So
Antonio Williams, a redshirt freshman. He redshirted this year.
I got him down as a sophomore. You sure he didn't play?
Antonio Williams redshirted.
Okay.
Remember, we were all pissed because I was like, "Man, put him in."
All right.
Some of those games we're blowing him out.
We're looking at Weber's a redshirt sophomore. Williams would be a redshirt freshman. Dobbins would be probably a redshirt.
I don't think so. I think that's so thin there that kid might play.
Yeah, and then McCall at the H, and we'll see how it shapes out. Coming into spring ball, we'll have a lot better idea. It's really that H and tailback and the receiver positions, I think there could be a lot of movement between. It's fucking almost not even February till even end of April. So that spring ball, we'll have a lot better idea.
Yeah.
As far as who's going to be kind of penciled in what spot, they're still trying to see what they have, what they end up with. I don't think that roster's done yet as far as the makeup of it.
Yeah. So the offense is in flux here, but the defense, I feel much more concrete about it, or at least I feel a lot better about the lineup that we're going to be throwing out there.
That makes one of us.
Okay.
Two of us. I'm excited about our front seven for sure.
Yeah, front seven. Okay, that's a different story.
Jesus. Just because you played DB doesn't mean you got to worry about them.
It's garbage back there.
Yeah. All right. So let's start up front where we feel confident. Tell me if this sounds okay. Sammy Hubbard, Jalen Holmes at the ends, Draymond Jones, Tracy Sprinkle, Michael Hill, Robert Landers in the middle, Nick Bosa on the end, Rashad Berry. That is a solid front four.
And throw in 5-star Jonathan Cooper.
Yep. He has
a freshman.
Yep.
I think Tyquan Lewis, you might want to mention him.
Oh, yeah. Big Ten Defensive Lineman of the Year.
Looking at Bosa still as a backup.
Right.
But, that's you say he's a backup, but they rotate 8 guys, and as much as we run that Rushman package, Jalen Holmes and Nick Bosa are going to be on the field a lot. We have 4 great defensive ends. We have 4 solid rush ends.
Don't forget my guy Darius Runaway Slade.
Yeah, providing depth. But those four rush ends and our D tackles after a year of playing. Landers, Draymond Jones.
We should have the best D line in the country, hands down.
I think so. And Chase Young, pencil him in.
Yeah, and he's not redshirting. I don't think. Maybe only because he won't see the field. But he's a monster.
And he's already.
We got so thin there. We got so thin there this year that we, a couple of those young guys, Draymond Jones and Robert Landers, they all got playing time where they probably wouldn't have. And if they would have came in with no playing time, essentially competing against our new guy, then I would agree he doesn't redshirt. But I think there's a good chance of him redshirting yet this year.
Chase Young is clearly a rush end. He's not. He won't play inside.
Right.
He's.
Oh, really? They're going to move him out?
Oh yeah. He's 6'5". He was 220. Well, 220 after 220 during his football season. He's up to 250 now. It bumped up. He was the one recruit that made a huge jump upwards to a 5-star. He's a top 10 in the country right now. Yeah. Mostly because of that All-Star game practice there, he dominated.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's a rush end where that is probably our deepest position on the whole squad, on the whole team, as far as talent and depth. Proven talent and proven productivity.
Yeah.
But I don't know how they redshirt him because we'll see if injuries obviously could play a big role. Let's see how he adapts to college life, but he's going to be rooming.
all these guys are going to be gone next year. Hubbard, Holmes, and Lewis for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Bosa won't be able to go yet, but they're going to want to stay on the field as much as possible, and
Yeah.
So I don't know if he's going to make it out there.
Yeah,
we got some serious.
Especially, you got my boy Cooper in there too, and Cooper could make this list.
Yeah,
Cooper's for real. Coming off that end.
So that's our embarrassment of riches on that front seven. Hopefully Sprinkle comes back 100% and can provide the leadership and I guess he really came on as like an outspoken vocal leader on the defense before his injury. So I think having him working out over the winter is really and setting that tone should help these younger guys develop even faster. So the front line, like you said, top couple in the country we should have. Talent wise, we're there. as far as rankings. But productivity, we should be dominant along the front line.
We should. I mean,
there should be no excuse why we're not.
Yeah.
The tackles did a fair job last year, I felt.
Oh, yeah.
And they were all young. All the kids that were playing were young. Another year with Mickey, with Coach Johnson.
Yeah, and there's no lack of depth there. There's a lot of warm bodies there that can play ball. Same with the linebacker room. This group, I think, might be the most exciting that we've seen in a while. Worley being the heart and soul coming back, senior leader, and we're going to have Dante Booker back. The guy was the starter last year at the outside, but fortunately the play of Jerome Baker allowed him to redshirt, so we got an extra 2 years out of Booker. And right now, you're looking at Worley on that strong side, Booker in the middle, and then Baker at the weak. I like that front starting three. And a guy that I'm really excited to see, because we haven't seen him yet, is Justin Hilliard. This guy, he must blew out both his biceps.
Yeah, hopefully he stays healthy.
Doing curls for the girls or something. I don't know. Maybe just lay off the dumbbells for a bit and do some chest or something else. So I'm really excited to see this guy. But he's got to crack through that front three, and I'm not sure that's an option.
Well, Booker's got to stay healthy too.
Right, you get injury concerns with both of them. You got Nick Connor, who redshirted, who showed a lot of promise, and Baron Browning. I think Baron Browning will see the field. I don't think that's another kid I don't picture redshirt.
Who was that kid? Who was that kid out of Wisconsin?
Size-wise, he's ready.
Pete Werner?
No, last
he's out
year.
of Indianapolis.
Tough Borland.
Oh, Tough Borland.
Yeah. I don't see
out
him
of Illinois,
on here.
but I think his brother went to Wisconsin, but he's out of Illinois. But yeah, I mean, Tough Borland, Nick Connor,
this guy's
Baron Browning, Pete Werner. Werner will probably redshirt, I'm guessing, just because of that depth. But I picture Browning on that weak side, backing up Baker. He could easily become number 2 on that depth chart,
especially being an early enrollee. That definitely sets him ahead.
It does. I mean,
he's got size right now, playing wise.
Definitely.
6'2", 225, 6'3", maybe. I'm not, somewhere in that range. He's, size wise, he's ready. You're right, Joe. Having that whole winter, being, having more time to develop as a college football player. I don't picture him.
Just to piggyback on that early enrollment that we've talked about it with a couple of these kids now. So I went and looked, and we've got 9 kids that are early, that are already at Ohio State. So I was like, is this common for everybody? I know we used to only have like 3 or 4 some years, these kids, but now this seems to be half of our class is already at Ohio State. So I went and I clicked on the team up north, and they've got 11 guys that are enrolled, and so. These are the premier programs, and then I clicked on my buddies Sparty, and they got like 3.
Yeah,
and they're all pumped.
Yeah, that reminds me of the Tressel years when we'd only have a handful of early enrollees. I think this closer to 10 number is the way of the future. As kids can graduate sooner out of high school, get their degree, and be academically ready for college. I think you're going to start seeing more of that, especially these 5-stars.
Right. And the other part of that, Joe, is a lot of these 5-stars at these bigger programs, they're getting recruited by the big programs. They're wanting to play.
Yep.
So they know their better chance of playing as freshmen gets them, they know they need to be in school sooner and not just show up for fall practice and try to get on the field. They're planning their high school like their freshman, sophomore years. They're getting everything in order to be able to play right away in college. So that's why they're getting their high school taken care of early. It's just they're speeding up the process because they're all looking at 3 years. You see a lot of these kids when they announce their commitment for the next 3 years, maybe 4. I'll be playing at so and so. Like they're expecting, play as freshmen, start as sophomores, juniors, go to pros.
Yep.
I mean that's the kind of the they're following like a
It's a path.
The word is the path is drawn out for them that way.
Yeah.
And these coaches are telling them, if you want a shot, you want to be on the field, get in here, get a winter workout season in, then be ready for spring ball.
Right.
Get you in the pads. Let us look at you. In the spring.
Work over the summer. Go take classes over the summer.
Right.
Get ahead of your degree if you can, and then be ready.
I think
for fall.
These top flight recruits and at these big programs, I think that's where Pantone and these player personnel guys, where they earn their money. They get these kids, they help them, explain to them what they need to do to get their high school stuff ready, and then they keep them on that path of the classes and the schedules, and because these kids, they're thinking pros. These if you're a top 5 kid, Okuda, Baron Browning, these kids, top 10, top 20 kids in the country, they got NFL aspirations, as they should. They're expecting to play.
To get in that weight room and get spring ball, you are almost a full year ahead of your class.
Exactly, 100% correct. And that's why Herb is one of the best coaches in the country, is because of his weight training staff and getting players ready for fall ball in, 6 or 8 months.
And teaching them how to be, go about their profession. This is their future, their profession. It's just like having great professors preparing you for your, to be a physicist or whatever. He's giving them all the tools to be great professionals. And you're seeing what our Buckeyes are doing in the pros. Our new wave of Buckeyes making impacts because they get into the pros knowing how to be a professional. I mean, they're taught the whole, even on and off the field. Yeah. They're getting taught the whole deal. So I think, and that's what appeals to these kids.
Yeah. Maybe no other position is indicative of that path to the pros from Ohio State than your favorites, Jeff and Sean, and that is the secondary.
Yeah.
Secondary.
The new and always has been really the DBU, the original DBU. Others tried to borrow it, but we've been consistent at cranking out corners and safeties. So
ever since early mid '90s.
If you play corner at Ohio State for 2 years, you play on Sunday.
Yeah.
It's like a rule.
Yeah, that path has been.
And sometimes you only have to do it for 1 year.
Right. That's the new path, the new and improved fast lane e-pass. So
right.
So let's talk about what do you want to start with? Guys coming in or guys that are
Jeffrey Okuda.
To me,
Jeffrey Okuda.
To me, this is the biggest reason why I love this recruiting class. I think the guys we got coming in, it's going to be tough for them on the learning curve, but I think a bunch of them are in early, and they're going to have this spring and be in that weight room. But I think the guys coming in physically can push for time at cornerback spots, both cornerback spots. I am scared to death of our corners this year.
Yeah.
I just am.
Yeah. Our current guys we have in are Denzel Ward, he's a junior, Josh Norwood, Damon Arnett, Rajay Burns. Let's keep moving.
I mean, none of them are the caliber of the top 3 that we brought in.
No,
Kendall Sheffield, Jeffrey Okuda, Sean Wade.
I think you're going to see it on the practice field too. It's going to be very evident.
Yeah, with Wade being early enrollee, he needs to build his frame. He's tall, but he's slight. I mean, he's not a big kid. Yeah. Okuda's coming in at early enrollee 6'1", 190.
Long.
Kendall Sheffield is coming in.
He could start.
I think they're picked. I think they got him pegged to take over Arnett at the one corner with Denzel Ward at the other.
He's a JC transfer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Former 5-star. The only reason he's a 4-star is because he played JUCO.
Yeah,
he was a 5-star when Bama signed him.
Yeah.
And I don't know all the details of why he didn't work out at Bama. Joe, do you know?
He was redshirted their championship year. Was it 2015? Yeah, 2015 would have been their last championship.
That 1 year.
Yeah. In case you forgot.
The year they won the title. He redshirted. Oh, he could be fucking 30.
So I don't know if something else fell apart there, but there aren't great issues at Alabama. You got to go like 0.0, Animal House style to
right.
to get kicked out or suspended academically at Alabama. So then he wanted to play, so he went to that Blinn College where Cam Newton went during his little sabbatical from D1 football.
Right.
And this kid is ready to play, step in right now. So,
he looks filthy on tape. Oh my God, he looks filthy.
I like him and Okudah starting right now at the corner spots, and Denzel and Arnett and everybody else just gonna have to have a seat and watch. I don't know who you pencil in at the nickel, but that's where we've been targeted and chewed up all of last season. That was our weakest spot, was that nickel, where where they were matching slot receivers on Damon Webb or on Arnett or even Ward. And that's where we got a lot of disadvantages. You might see a bigger frame kid like Okudah playing more of that nickel, just so we don't have the weakness. It just seemed like in the playoff game with Clemson, Ward, he had great coverage like 2 or 3 times, and the kid that's 5-6 inches taller than him just took the ball away from him. Yeah, it's an easy game of keep away.
Yeah, so maybe we don't look at the smaller frame, smaller height, less reach guy in the slot, because teams did it all season. They moved their big guy around, their big split end, then move him into the slot, and we play man up on the outsides.
Right.
And they just say, okay, well, we'll take Marshawn and Conley away from you guys because we're not putting our best guy on him. We're going to move our guy inside where you're weak, and we'll just take advantage of the size mismatch. Yes. We can fix that with Sean Wade, with Okudah. Sheffield's a little bit smaller, but I think Sheffield's more ready now.
Definitely. And safety position, we got Damon Webb locked down at the one slot, and then Eric Smith penciled in at the other. I like Jordan Fuller possibly coming in to dethrone Eric Smith. I'm not sure I would write that in pen just yet. And then behind Fuller, you got Jason Wint, like him, and Isaiah Pryor already enrolled again. Another IMG property.
Big kid. Good frame on him right now. You can't say enough about having these kids, these early enrollees.
I've heard some speculation that maybe Webb moves back to corner if need be, if they aren't comfortable with the younger guys, and then you move Fuller and Smith to the safety spots, at the same time.
Now, did Sheffield enroll? Is
not
he
yet.
On campus now?
No.
Okay.
He's coming in like at a weird time, I think. Like I want to say May, like summertime or something. I'm not sure how they worked that out, but yeah, he's coming in at a weird time.
So there's a couple of guys that are gonna have a leg up on him, newcomers, Wade and Okudah. But we're gonna have all spring ball to see Wade, to see Okudah, to see Webb and Ward and Arnett. All these guys going after each other. Probably Amir Reap and Williamson will probably redshirt, just because of the depth.
I would think.
But we're gonna be at the end of spring ball. The coaches are gonna have a real good idea. Is Sean Wade ready for D1 football on Saturdays? Is Okudah ready? And if not, or where are they ready? There's talk that Okudah couldn't move to safety. If they might look at Webb at corner, move Okudah to safety. Fuller, I think I see Fuller being on the field most of the season. Mm-hmm. Just because we can't speculate on Eric Smith, highly touted, into the field. So we can't. But Marshawn Lattimore, we said that at this time last year. We were talking about Marshawn Lattimore. Well, if the dude stayed healthy, we don't know. He's a big question mark. We came out and said he was, he showed he was one of the best corners in the nation.
Yeah.
So, it's an embarrassment of riches, I believe.
Definitely.
And Coombs, you can't deny what Coombs has been doing. It seems like they take, all these DBs have just take exactly like him, and they absorb everything he has, his energy, his ability, his tenacity with how he coaches and how he recruits. It's like his players absorb all that, and it shows. I mean, you don't send 3 out of 4 of your backfield to the pros year after year.
I know, twice back to back.
Yeah, it's
shit.
Guys coming in like first year players, Hooker and Lattimore, and balling out as like best in the country, all Americans.
Right.
It's crazy.
So, yeah, and it's an awesome recruiting tool. So let's see how
somebody's going to show up this year and ball out.
Yeah, that's one of the more intriguing position battles is that secondary. However, things shuffle around, but yeah. All in all, I'm looking forward to this weekend, and then next week as things heat up and we get to the 1st of February. Really want to see some of these. Oh man, I want Marvin Wilson. We need that guy.
Yeah, I take it.
I'll be happy with either one of the D tackles. Yeah. If we get either one of the D tackles and Munford, I'll be overjoyed with our class. I think we'll have addressed every spot we need. Like I said, next year, spots like offensive line again and tight end are going to be huge. Right. And running back. Is there any question that Tate Martell does not redshirt? He has to redshirt, right?
That's a given unless we go through 3 quarterbacks quickly.
Yeah, no way. He's this year.
Do you think Haskins surpasses Burrow?
Burrow looks good. I mean, I don't know, but
Burrow has looked good. But I think
all the hype you hear about Haskins, though, it's
that's what I'm saying. I think
the bigger question is, could one of them pass JT? We got a new offensive coordinator.
I don't think so.
Is anyone going to be given the opportunity to surpass him? His leadership, though, is unmatched. And productivity, just look at his numbers over his years. He accounts for so many touchdowns,
and he's a cool cat. He doesn't get rattled really.
But they gotta we have to fix the passing game. It's flawed. It's deficient.
Yeah.
We have to fix that.
Yeah.
One way or another, it has to improve.
Yeah, we'll break down the.
You can't go through. Yeah. Okay.
We'll break down all the positions.
Go on and on about that.
Yeah, that's a whole show in and of itself. But we'll break down position groups post recruiting signing day, and really break down who is going to play and who's probably going to redshirt as best we can tell. So, way to bring it today, boys. If you haven't subscribed yet, Buckeye fans, do so on your favorite podcast app. You can also find us at thebuckeyecast.com. Subscribe to the email list. I'll be firing something off weekly. And please visit our affiliates. You can find them at the website and in the show notes for today's podcast. Thanks for joining me, boys. And thank you, Buckeye fans, for joining us.
All right, Jeff, peace out.
And Jeff, thank you very much. We'll see you.
All right, brother.
Late.
It's fun.